Hi, I'm Rachel Zoe, and you are listening to Works for Us, where we talk to people about what works for them in their relationships and, of course, what doesn't. Okay, so finding the right people to collaborate with can be an absolute challenge for most people. But for our guests today, they were actually able to find their kindred spirits and dream collaborators in each other so that they could thrive together in business and, even more importantly, in friendship. The Lady Gang is a celebrity-driven brand for women by women from the minds and mouths of Keltie Knight, Becca Tobin, and Jac Vanek. The popular Lady Gang podcast since its inception in 2015 has boasted over 100 million downloads. Holy crap, making it one of the most popular podcasts for women in the world. The show has been nominated for a Webby Award, which, by the way, my husband created, People's Choice Award, and in 2016 was named Podcast of the Year. We are so excited to say that we have Becca, Keltie, and Jac of the Lady Gang on Works for Us today. So welcome, ladies. Okay. Hi.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so happy you're here. This is so much fun. And by the way, just so you know, I disinvited Roger today.
I heard.
He was like, there's literally 0% chance that I have a shot with 4-on-1 here. And I was like, yeah, we don't want you anyway. And he's like, okay, great. I have so much work to do. I'm like, okay, bye.
Well, if I had known he created the Webbies, then I would have invited him because we didn't win.
Rude.
We needed some insider help because it was an L.
Well, but we also had a show on E! the year we were nominated for a People's Choice Award, and E! hosts that show, and we didn't win that either. So it's kind of like bullshit at this point.
Listen, winning is overrated, honestly.
It is.
Losing
is more on brand.
Listen to me. I think they always say like, oh, it's an honor to be nominated. It really is, because winning is a very bizarre thing because it's swayed so easily. There's so many variables. I mean, you see it in award season every year, like who should have, who could have, who was the obvious choice, and then it went the total other way. So I do think just being nominated means that you kind of won. I know that sounds not real, but I think that's just the way we should think about this. What do you think?
I love that.
And you have the same fashion moments at award shows.
Totally.
There's no extra moment.
Honestly, you guys, no one cares who wins. It's really what you look like on the carpet, honestly.
It's true.
100%. And sometimes you don't win, but you still win. And sometimes the winners lose, all the time.
Wow. By the way, all the time.
I'm like, that's what you're going to wear to win your Oscar? Thoughts about that?
But
You're not wrong.
Don't you love it when the perfect storm happens and the person that wins is wearing the best dress and they walk up there and just win? And it's like those moments really just make me happy. And in those moments, those are the seconds that make me wish that I'm like, okay, I miss it. For this 5-minute period, I really miss it, So you guys, I want to just talk for a minute about your individual backstories, because I know that you're obviously all very accomplished. You're badass, you're ballers. You all do like a billion and one things. Keltie, very cool that you were a Rockette. Yeah. I just need to bring that out because that's like a major thing. And now you're a correspondent for Entertainment Tonight, which is also really big deal.
Listen, I think the first time I met you, Rachel, was, years ago, we used to do big Fashion Week coverage. Now the Fashion Weeks are kind of a little less exciting in New York. Yep. But you had, I remember, the reason I remember this, you had like a white studio and there were, that's like very fashion, isn't it? It's like every show ever, but it was one of your Fashion Week shows. And I remember interviewing you after you were wearing a white suit with maybe a black lapel, and the collection had an insane cardigan knit crocheted sweater, which I know is one of your staples. So it's probably in every collection. But I remember covering all these fashion shows and I was like, oh, who the fuck is wearing this? And then I covered your show and I was like, I want every single
that
outfit.
Makes me so happy.
I feel like a boho kind of girl in my heart. So it was very much in that vein, but, and you were always so nice, and Fashion fashion people are so nasty. They treat the press like you're literally cockroaches because they know you're wearing like the Jessica Simpson version of the Manolo. And they know that in their heart. And you're like, I know, but I am a journalist and I do not have enough money for the Manolo. So I'm trying to like keep it chic at Fashion Week, but like this shit's from Target. And you are always so fucking nice.
Oh, you're the sweetest. Let me tell you my thought on that. It's funny because I actually hear that, I would say throughout my career, the number one thing I've got is they're always like, I thought you were going to be an evil bitch and you were the nicest, friendliest. I was like, God, fashion really has a bad rap. And I do say that like, listen, I came into the business and fashion people were scary. You know what I mean? They just were. I was terrified. Everywhere I went, I was terrified. And my first and only boss actually said to me verbatim, you're way too nice to make it in this industry.
Oh my God.
They did. And she did. And I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And when people ask me now, sort of what's your advice to people coming up in fashion or people coming up in any business? And I do think you can win and be kind. You have to have 100 eyes open at all times. You do. And little naive me definitely did not have my eyes open all the time. But I think at the end of the day, I just don't think you have to shit on people to succeed. I just don't buy that. And I also have always been about relatability. And I know that people are like, oh my God, you can only wear that because you're you or because you're this or because you're that. And I actually don't subscribe to that. So the mission behind my whole brand has always been, let's live your best life. And you can do it no matter what your budget is, no matter where you live, no matter what you're getting dressed for, dress for you, and have fun with it. And I don't judge people. And I think people think like I look at them like, oh, don't look at what I'm wearing. Don't look at it. And I'm really not looking at what you're wearing. That's what's so funny. But yeah. Okay. So Becca, quite accomplished as a singer and actress, everything. And I don't understand, and also a dancer. And I don't understand why everyone can, like, I'm confused why actors all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but can always like sing and dance. And like, it's like this gift. Like you get this like wand over your head when you're born. And they're like, I'm going to give you the gift of dancing, singing, acting. And like, I just don't get it. It's like, I remember when Reese Witherspoon did like Walk the Line. I was like, I don't get it. So she can sing too. Like I'm confused.
It's literally like God was like, okay, I'm going to put all the talent into these select people,
right?
And
what
all
is
the
that?
rest of us get nothing.
I can do none of them. None. So it's just an all or nothing then.
Yes.
I will say that now more than ever, every celebrity seems like they can sing because the technology in a recording studio
Auto-tune
is next level. So I will say that it's not always the greatest talented singers. It's the most confident actors who think they can sing.
Okay. Maybe.
And then
I'm not buying it so far.
But also, I think
you're being nice to civilians.
But a lot of us, it's misplaced confidence, first of all. But the other thing is a lot of people started, myself included, as like musical theater nerds.
Right.
Like I was a junkie for Annie and Thoroughly Modern Millie, like Sutton Foster.
So was I, but I can't sing or dance. Loved Annie. Know every word. Every word. Yeah, you quiet over there, Rockette.
But I locked myself in my room every day and like belted out soundtracks to Broadway shows. Like I was a total dork, and I finessed whatever that skill was to the point where I could get paid for it slightly.
No, but see, true story. I actually hear that quite a bit from my like talented friends and clients over the years. They're like, I literally was like a theater nerd that locked myself in my room, sang at the top of my lungs. I didn't care who was in my house. I dressed up like all the time in like costumes and played different characters and played different roles in my family. And like, so I think it is really this gift. And then you decide if you're going to nurture it, which is not easy, by the way.
No, I'm still trying to figure out that part of it.
I think you're doing great. Great. You have a new show on Disney Plus, which is very exciting.
So exciting.
So I'm pretty sure you're going to get paid. Turner and Hooch?
Get paid.
That's exciting.
Thank God I got paid because Disney's a reputable company and they do pay their actors.
I'm pretty sure they're really reputable. Yeah.
It's Turner and Hooch. And actually, I watched the first 3 episodes with my 9-year-old nephew, and like 6 minutes in, he said to me, you know what? This is a really good show. And he's
God,
critics.
They are the toughest, most honest critics. I have a 10-year-old son and a 7-year-old, and they hold nothing back.
Yeah. Well, they're going to love Turner and Hooch. It's so
exciting.
Cute. It was a really fun time to shoot. We were up in Vancouver and just like drooly dogs everywhere. And I got to wear power suits and I got to wear some Manola Blahniks, actually.
I mean, the real ones.
Full circle.
The real ones.
Because it's Disney.
I love it. So you had like an SJP moment.
Yes, for sure.
A lot of them running around Vancouver just instead of Paris, but cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Slightly less chic.
She had to wear a shimmer tight. She plays a lawyer. And so she had to she would post these pictures on Instagram. I was like, I'm sorry, are you wearing hose?
A pantyhose.
And like a nice curled hairstyle.
Rachel's a perfect person to ask this question. We have an ongoing fight in Lady Gang. Is it panty hose or panty hoe?
HOSE.
HOSE.
There we go.
What I thought. So
what's so funny is we could have Googled this.
We could have Googled it, but why would we?
We
have Rachel's hoe?
I still say tights, stockings, maybe, but tights just because the reason I say tights is because it makes me feel like I'm 6. Like the ones I wore with my dresses when I was 6 and had like a little like fur muff thing on my hands. Like, and it feels just easier to say tights. I don't know why that is. It's just pantyhose sounds like underwear and like a garden hose. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, Jac, so you've created your own brand, which is pretty insane. Tell me, you look like you have a lot to say. She's like,
you guys could talk for hours.
It's a whole thing. Yeah. So when I was younger, I was obsessed with music, and like back to our conversation, I was not given the gift of a great voice. Like I might have the worst voice of anybody that I've ever met in my entire life.
No, my husband does actually.
Great. So second worst voice. I had no musical talent whatsoever, but I was like inserting myself into this world of bands and I was going to shows and I wanted to
you were like Kate Hudson and Almost Famous.
Yes, I literally was.
Penny Lane.
Except for a little bit younger. And I was like I'm like, I want to tour. I want to travel the world and like be a rock star, but I have no ability.
By the way, my husband's the same. He wanted to be Jim Morrison, but like can't sing anything, you know?
Did he ever like figure out like how to circumvent the problem?
No, he just followed the dead and still does, by the way.
Oh, amazing.
Crazy. I've always wondered what people do that.
Roger. Some people get totally overwhelmed by shopping, and it probably shocks no one when I say that I, of course, love it. But it's true that it can be daunting when you're trying to make a selection between lots and lots of options. When I start to feel overwhelmed by a variety of options, whether it's clothing or anything really, I personally always look for pieces that have that little extra something that makes them special. And that's why I choose to drink Vizzy. As the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C, Vizzy brings something unique and delicious to the table. There are plenty of hard seltzers to choose from, but with 8 bold and delicious dual fruit flavors and antioxidant vitamin C extracted from acerola cherry, Vizzy makes the choice a little easier and a lot tastier. Vizzy flavors include pineapple mango, blueberry lemon, raspberry tangerine, and watermelon strawberry. My new favorite is the watermelon strawberry, which is so refreshing for summer. And Vizzy also recently launched their own lemonade hard seltzer, which includes flavors like watermelon, peach, raspberry, and strawberry. Seriously, every Vizzy flavor is so delicious, you'll want to try them all. It never hurts to add a little vitamin C into the mix, so why not upgrade your hard seltzer to Vizzy? It's definitely the option that has that extra something special that you've been looking for. To find out where you can purchase Vizzy, go to VizzyHardSeltzer.com/Zoe. That's VizzyHardSeltzer.com/Zoe. You must be 21 to enjoy Vizzy.
I've always wondered what people do that.
Yeah, I'm like, like people that love fish.
Yeah,
and they like follow fish around.
Yeah, but like now the dead has John Mayer and he's like awesome. So so Roger like loves it and he goes and he always sees Andy Cowan there. It's really funny.
I freaking love that. So what I did is like back in the day, I was like big on MySpace, like before all the social media situation was happening. So I was like, okay, I'm going to like try to figure this out. And I made these rubber bracelets that had different words on them. And I sold them on my MySpace page. I was going to concerts and selling shit out of my backpack, and it kind of blew up. So I expanded it from there. And then I started going and jumping on all these music tours. I would have like a pop-up tent that I would sell all my clothes out of. And I was just like living my best life. Yeah. It was really fun. And I got to like live that rock star sort of a lifestyle with zero musical talent.
But now like really major people are wearing all of your things, which is incredible. Like Joe Jonas, Vanessa Hudgens, Cara Delevingne, who's probably the coolest of everybody, right? I want to be as cool as her.
Oh my God, I love her so much.
She's so dope. She's so dope. And she's so nice too.
It's crazy because it's like, I mean, back in the day, like usually I could tell when a celebrity, like I knew somebody who knew them, so I could like gift it through people, or I knew them personally. But then it was just so weird when like a Lindsay Lohan was wearing something.
Right, like now all of a sudden people actually want to buy them, and you see them out in the wild. You're like, wait, I didn't give that to you.
Yeah, yes. Like, how did you get this? Did you go to my website? Do I have your address now?
Oh my God, this literally happened with both Khloe and Kourtney Kardashian and our book, Rachel. Yes. So last year we released a book, Act Like a Lady, and we like had 100 books and we gifted them to everyone. And so people are posting and we're like, oh my God, thanks. But like you got that book for free. So obviously like, that's why you're posting. And we kind of like friend pressured you into it. Sure. And then people started tagging us on their...
We all do it.
No, listen, it's a hustle. But then people started tagging us in pictures of like Kourtney and Khloe's houses, and they'd be like hang out in their kitchen, and our book would be on the fucking counter. And we're like, how did you get the book? How did you, I mean, it's chic. It's
Act
cute.
Like a lady, everybody get it now.
Yes. But I'm like, how did you get this book? And then I tried to write them and I was like, hey, I saw Kourtney has our book. Does she want to come on the podcast? And it was like crickets, you know? And God's fair.
I feel like she totally would come on, but but that's amazing. I mean, listen, I think what's so cool is you guys obviously have your very different backgrounds, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. How did you actually like come together and think about doing this? Like, how'd you meet? How did this all happen? Like, what's the story? Because the whole thing about Works for Us is it's really getting into like, for me, it's about getting into like relationships, married couples, best friends, people that work together, siblings, mother, daughter. So for me, you know, I just always want to know sort of like how did this happen? And like, how did the love story begin between you guys? Because 3 girls, you guys, is not easy. It's usually a shitstorm. So
yeah, we gotta
go. No, we have this crazy psychotic, and if I were listening to this, I wouldn't even believe it, because I am a sister and I know how psychotic and evil and manipulative women are capable of being when feeling threatened.
Yep.
The 3 of us have the most healthy, knock on wood, but it's been almost 6 years, healthy, productive, like efficient dynamic of any partnership I've ever had, male or female or whatever it is. Like, it's for whatever reason, the 3 of us work really well together. I think it's because we're all so different.
Yeah.
And we all have an awareness to stay in our lane. Like, we have different strengths. Like, Jac is aesthetically a queen. She can look at something and be able to change a font slightly to make it look like it's the chicest thing you've ever seen. I can look at something and have no idea how to fix it. I just know it's ugly.
I'm like, can we use curls?
And then we're like, Keltie, that went away 10 years ago. And that's okay. So I think like to go back to how it started, Keltie and I knew each other from living in New York City, being broke ass dancers, like standing in line at 8 a.m. and like waiting to get into a cattle call. And we would just keep seeing each other. And finally we lost touch. We were both out in LA. I was working on the show Glee and she was working for Entertainment Tonight.
Casual, again, not working. Okay, cool. Glee.
Just casual.
Okay.
So I was working on the show and I had just moved straight from New York City to LA to be on this show. So I'd never done TV. I'd never done a red carpet. And I would see Keltie on these red carpets and we would just sort of make eye contact with each other and be like, is this an alternate universe? Weren't we just dancing? Like,
weren't you just beating me out for jobs, Becca?
That's so cool.
It was so cool. And I kind of leaned on Keltie in that beginning phase of being like, do I really need a publicist? And she's like, you absolutely need a fucking publicist. Nobody gets any work without a publicist. And so she was
like, stop wearing black on the red carpet.
Yeah.
No one will put you in style. Yes. Secrets I learned over time.
Unless it's really special black.
No, unless you're Anne Hathaway.
Or like Angelina Jolie. It's like nobody wants to see you in black.
Or the dress is extra. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like if it's special black dress as opposed to like simple black dress.
Yeah.
Simple
and
black
I don't
dress,
know how
no
to
press.
do. Yeah, I don't know how to do extras. So it's like, she was like, you're really boring the hell out of me. Please like figure it out. So we kind of made this connection, and she was my security blanket at all these weird events. And then we were having a sad lunch at Cafe 101. Rest in peace. It's no longer there.
So sad.
We're like,
Miss you, veggie sausage. Miss you so much.
So
much.
sad.
We're eating our sad salads and sad veggie burgers. And we were like, we need something of our own. Like, I'm so sick of waiting for my phone to ring. I'm so sick of waiting to see if Ryan Murphy will put me in another TV show. Like, how much can you stalk somebody before they get a restraining order? And she's like, let's do a podcast. Because we wanted a talk show, but nobody's going to give like two unnamed losers like a talk show. Mm-hmm. Keltie's a genius. She had the forethought to be like, this is going to be big. Podcasts are going to be huge. We're going to do it. And I know the third girl to make this rounded out and give us a little street cred, because Jac was an entrepreneur. She wasn't in entertainment. And we kind of needed that trifecta so people would be interested in us and find a little piece of themselves in each of us. So that was it. We just off to the races, like blindly leading the blind, and just got lucky.
And Jac and I used to date the same guy. So we have the same ex-boyfriend.
Is that true?
Yes, I'm going to jump in here and say what I always do. Keltie took my sloppy second. I dated him first.
And then
no big deal.
When we broke up and she thought that we were maybe still together, she made out with him. But thank God for what band?
What?
Weren't you listening to like a Interpol song and it came
an Incubus? I was listening to an Incubus song so we could
Interpol Incubus.
decide the timeline of when this happened. Because I'm like, was Keltie dating him?
This is so rude.
Did he cheat on her with me?
But also,
what exactly happened?
Rachel, you should know that the man they were fighting over wore leather vests and eyeliner. So
it was the 2000s. Was it? What man was it?
Not the 2000s. This was like what 2000?
It was like 2009.
Oh, see.
So you dated him? Yeah.
You were like 2005, Jac. Anyway.
Because eyeliner and all that was kind of like Morrissey days and like.
What about
emo? It was emo.
What about a vest made out of roses?
It was like a stitched.
He was a rock and roll.
Okay,
no,
so here's the thing. Neither of you are with him now, which is helpful.
Yes.
And
I knew Jac because we had dated the same guy and we had been like kind of pitted against each other on MySpace. But I had always thought Jac was the fucking coolest woman I'd ever met. I always wanted to wear all of her stuff that she made, but like I really couldn't because then the internet would like explode.
Awkward.
So yeah, I was like, oh, cool. So, I like knew her, but I was like, God, I've always wanted to be in the cool kids club, Rachel. Like that's my, I just want to be invited to be cool.
But I think you are cool.
Thanks. I'm not. But thanks.
I think you are.
Someone tape this and put it as a reel on Instagram.
I do. I think you're cool.
This is the best moment of her life.
I feel like such cool vibes because do you know what? To me, and Roger and I always say this, it's the people that like are self-deprecating and so hyper aware of like what their sort of comfort zone is, what they want, and they're so honest about it. To me, the people say they want the invitation and those actually are the cool people because it's the people to me that only care about getting the invitation, that pretend the thing they don't care about is getting the invitation. Yeah. So for me, the actual cool people are the people that say what they are and are like living their truth. And like, I just think like being honest and funny and candid is what actually makes you cool. I swear. And I've always felt that way. It's the people that, have come into my life in a very big way over the years that basically spend every waking moment of their life trying to tell me exactly who they aren't and don't want to be, but it's exactly who they are. And they're hypocrites, and I know a lot of those. So I actually think the real cool people are the people that are truthful because I just, obviously you guys are familiar with the term desperate. And I think there's a lot of that.
It's my middle name.
No, it isn't. Because I actually think by you saying how many times can I stalk Ryan Murphy, like to me, that actually makes you so fucking cool. You know what I mean? Honestly. And we're school parents for many years together and he's awesome actually. And,
can you get her another job?
Stop. But now
you call Ryan?
I feel like he fully knows you. I feel like he fully knows you.
Yeah. I mean, he was a wonderful, wonderful person to work for. I think I got so
he's
spoiled.
Brilliant.
He's absolutely brilliant. And I got so spoiled that being like my first TV job, because after that I would get these scripts and be on these sets and I'd be like, this is some rinky dink bullshit. And they're like, no, it's just not Ryan Murphy. I'm like, oh, damn it.
You're going to end up back there. Trust. I promise. Life just like you go like this, you go in like a circle so that you have to kind of be kicked to the side and down and upside down a little to know how badly you want to get back to where you once were. Mm-hmm. And, they always say it's like getting to the top is easier than staying there, right? It just is. And that applies to every job, no matter what it is. It's just
it really applies to the iTunes charts when you're a podcaster. That's for sure. Launch big, and then that algorithm really fucks you. But Rachel, I was going to say, you were talking about working together.
Yes.
I think the secret sauce for us is this level of compassion and honesty. Yep. So it's like we do not let shit simmer. Like if something's going on, if someone's fucking up, if someone is, doing and emailing in a weird, that's actually mostly me. Like we nip it in the bud right away. And then also having compassion for each other and the way we work. Like I am an A type. Like I sat up all day yesterday writing emails and then like sent them out this morning and like, listen. Yeah. Jac's like, I got to work at 11 o'clock at night because that's when I'm productive.
Sure.
Like that is not my schedule, but I'm very compassionate to like, okay, I'm not going to hear from her about this font at 11 a.m. because that's not her, And so I think having that understanding of not trying to change people.
Yep.
It's a secret.
I think that's a really important part because I think there's a lot of this that is acceptance. And I think working together as, as friends and business partners now. I mean, was there ever a time where you guys were not friends and it was like just strictly professional and you guys were like, or have you always just been this like super synergistic girl group?
It's funny because we actually, none of us were really that close when we started the podcast. Like Becca and I hadn't even met each other.
You're like, I didn't even like her.
Yeah. I'm like, who is this bitch?
I don't know her.
I don't know her.
Her and I had never met before. And we met for the first time as we were going into our pitch meeting for our network. And I was like, hey, I'm Jac. She's like, hey, I'm Becca. And then we go in the room and we're like, yeah, so our podcast is based on like mimosa brunches with your besties. And we just kind of went into it. But that's kind of part of the secret sauce too, is because none of us were really that close to begin with. We've grown to know each other through the podcast and through being business partners. And that is the reason why I feel like it's kept us, like our relationship so good, because we're still not best friends. We don't hang out outside of work for the most part. Because our work is so fun too, we get to know each other on the podcast.
Of course.
But that's where there's like a level of professionalism and respect for one another, because we don't have this weird dynamic going on underneath the surface of like years and years of friendship and weird stuff bubbling up to the surface. So that's kept us kind of in like a really, really good, healthy place.
Well, I actually love your business. I mean, you guys have done a book. You were obviously on a show. Your podcast is hugely successful. I mean, did you ever think that like the brand would manifest itself in so many ways? And like, what do you share the same goals for the future, or do you just kind of like roll with it? Because, for me, people always ask like, how do I do what you did, or how did you become? And the truth is I never really scripted it. I never really laid it out. I just kind of winged my whole way through life. And if you ask anyone on my team, I mean, I literally I really do wing it, because I find that if I plan it, if I try and set these goals, and if I don't hit it, I'm going to feel like I failed. And, I'm such a Virgo that it's like, and I never get complacent, but I think I always feel like I have so much more to do. So I guess with your brand, what, like, have you done everything? Do you have a million more things to do? Like, what are your thoughts? Like, what's the plan, if any, or do you just roll?
Well, this is like the beauty of it is that Keltie's the one who makes these like manifestation lists. They're like taped to her mirror. She gets really in the nitty gritty with herself about what she wants to accomplish for herself in the brand. And so, but I will, with that being said, there was never any roadmap, because we didn't actually think that you could make a living podcasting. It was a side hustle. And so when you're thinking about something as a hobby and sort of just an outlet, you're not.
The expectations are so low.
They're so low.
Yeah.
And so the first ad that we sold, it was like, oh, well, that's cool, but it's like $5 and we're not going to be paying our mortgages off of this thing.
Right.
So Keltie was achieving all of her journalism and entertainment journalism goals. I was still acting. Jac was still doing her brand. And we would come together to have this like fun time for an hour a week. And it's like when you're busy focusing on all these other things that you have these high expectations for, you come into this other like venture
so lightly. Yeah.
So lightly. And the freedom to just go through the doors that open and have the meetings that come to you. And it really we did work our asses off, not to say that we didn't invest a ton of time and energy and our own money into it in the beginning, but like it was almost so easy because we didn't have expectations. And we never in a million years thought that we could ever build any kind of like brand. To us, it was hilarious that it was even referred to as a brand for the first 2 years.
It's like so great.
It's been wonderful. And as far as like long-term goals go, I'll let Keltie take over because obviously she has like 85 goals for us.
Bring out your bujo.
No, you know what? What's interesting is that like we started this and then I knew something had clicked, Rachel, when we like, you're very well known. And so when you walk anywhere, people are like, I think I just saw Rachel Zoe. Like some people probably come up to you, some people don't. But like for me being on ET, like really the only place that people really like double looked at me was like on airplanes. That was my like real people. Like I'd walk on an airplane and people would be like, I know you. Or they'd be like, hey. And then I was like, you don't know me in real life. And so, but with Lady Gang, like about a year in, Becca was always getting recognized for Glee, but like Jac and I would be like at Home Goods or we'd be at Target and like people would be chasing us across the parking lot and they'd be like, oh my God, I love Lady Gang so much. Like a girl came up to me at Home Goods. She was like, oh my God, I knew you were here because I saw your husband in the towel aisle. Like, it's like, like, it's just, that's when I realized like something real is happening here.
Totally.
And then how can we harness this?
Sure.
And our mission has always been to make women feel less alone. And I really love, we had Bethany Frankel on the podcast in December. And I was talking to her about philanthropy. And it was like, you know, we want to give back. We've been doing all these charity things, but then it's like, are we allowed to make money off the podcast? Like, what if I just want this to be my full-time job now?
Right.
And she was like, I feel like the more successful I am, the more I can give back. And she's like, and I put the two in two different piles. I don't do 10% of proceeds. I make all the money as Bethany Frankel and I give back in a big way. And I think that's how Lady Gang is moving forward, is that, you know, we're going to continue to make money. We'll do books, we'll do clothes, we'll do whatever comes our way that's fun in a collaboration where we can serve our girl. But at the end of the day, we really want to serve women and help them and continue to give money and goods to like, you know, people who are not as privileged as us. And so that's kind of the big goal. I mean, I would love to be a $50 million brand, but like, you know, we'll see.
You will be. You will be.
I don't know.
Working on it.
My money's
I
on
just
you
want to
guys.
say we launched our subscription box at a very similar time to when you started yours.
Yeah.
And I know it's now transitioned and we have since given up. So maybe.
Well, we were also
Join
packing
ours.
and shipping everything ourselves.
We
so that
packed
was
them
a
in
big part.
my garage. So
Setting yourself up for sleep success is so, so important. I am self-admittedly a very light, very bad sleeper, which is one of the reasons why the perfect mattress is absolutely crucial for me. We all deserve to have quality sleep on a mattress that's exactly right for our individual needs, don't you think? Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. With Helix, you're getting a mattress that you know will be perfect for the way you sleep. Everybody's unique, and Helix knows that. So they have several different mattress models to choose from. They have soft, medium, and firm mattresses. Mattresses great for cooling you down if you sleep hot, and even a Helix Plus mattress for plus-size sleepers. Roger and I took the Helix quiz together, and we're actually matched with the Midnight Luxe mattress, which happens to be Helix's most awarded mattress. It has a medium feel that's great for couples with different sleep preferences, and it's also tailored to side sleepers, which is exactly what I was looking for. I wake up feeling so refreshed after sleeping on this mattress, and I cannot recommend Helix enough. So If you're looking for a mattress, you take the quiz, you order the mattress that you're matched to, and the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't ever need to go to a mattress store again. Helix is honestly amazing, but you don't need to take my word for it. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 and by GQ and Wired magazines. Just go to helixsleep.com/Zoe, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but I promise you will. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Zoe. That's helixsleep.com/Zoe for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. You guys, it's an insane business, but I have to say, you know, and a lot in part on that side of it to Roger and the sort of operational side of it, it is a massive undertaking. And the reason we turned it into what's now called Curator, because beyond the actual box that we do every season, we wanted to actually create this entire membership lifestyle program for women so that they came, yes, to get their curation every quarter, but that we wanted them to stay there and create this whole membership shop and all these experiences and basically be like almost like an Amex Platinum card for women to come in, shop, get styled, and feel safe and get access they can't get anywhere else. Yep. How did the pandemic affect like your relationships with each other, if they did, at home with the podcast? I mean, I imagine the podcast even went probably even way bigger over the pandemic, right? I mean, more people listening.
I think the biggest difference is before the pandemic, we had been doing this for 5 years, 2 episodes a week, never missed a single episode in that entire time. And everything was in person. So like we needed to make sure that one of us didn't end up getting sick, because then we wouldn't be able to put out a podcast episode.
Sure.
So obviously everything transferred to Zoom over the pandemic. So that was honestly the hugest logistical difference for us, but it has given us so much freedom because now Becca moved to Austin.
Yep.
I travel a lot. So now we can podcast literally if the 3 of us were across the world from each other. So that actually has been a positive in our lives, because before, I mean, Becca wouldn't have been able to move at all because we need her twice a week for the podcast.
That's amazing.
What has really screwed us, Rachel, thanks for asking, is that all these other people have come out with podcasts. I mean, let's be honest. The pandemic was wonderful for us, but then it also gave all these celebrities who weren't on set, other TV shows and their movies. They got bored. They weren't getting enough attention. And so they were like, I think I'm going to launch a podcast. And then they did. And then they went to the top of the Apple charts and I had meltdowns. Let's be straight up. That really happened during the
pandemic. There's that too.
But I want to give you a lot of credit because, you know, it's funny. When podcasts first came out, you know, literally everybody was like, Rachel, you have to do a podcast. You have to do a podcast. You do it. How? What? They're like, you can do it from your couch. You could do it. I didn't really understand it because I'm not a commuter, which my commuter friends and employees are the most podcast, verse, I guess is the word. But I was sort of alone on an island because I'm always a little late to understanding the newest sort of platform and podcasts. And I was like, I'm like, I don't understand. When am I going to listen? When do I not have a child in my ear or my team kind of like pulling me into a room somewhere? It was just like unfathomable to me. And so I guess a couple years later, the conversation started happening. And I was like, I feel like there's 2 billion podcasts. I don't think I should do a podcast. And what happened, to your point, in the pandemic, the opportunities kind of just came, and Raj and I were obviously working like animals at home. And it just became for me, it's such a fun, I don't want to say easy, but just
it's amazing.
It's a fun, very organic thing, because way more than television for me, I was a psych major. I was not a fashion major. I was a psych and social major. So for me, actually doing this and talking to you guys for me is the most natural thing I've ever done in my career, because I just feel like I get to hang out with cool women like you guys and just shoot the shit and like talk about life and the things that whatever, And so for me, having Roger on it is annoying. No, I'm just kidding. But for Raj and I, like we've been together, we're celebrating almost 30 years. August 29th will be 30 years together from our first date.
Wow. So holy shit.
So when it kind of came to, hey, we want to do this relationship podcast with you and Roger, that to me became so fascinating because I was like, I love to get into people's heads and I love to get into what makes them work, what their magic sauce is, what all of that. So that was actually the impetus. But, when we started getting all these ads and sponsors, I was like, really? They wanted, like, I was literally like you. I was like a head tilt. I was like, they want to, they want to do
They like us.
Okay, cool.
They really
so
like
I
listen,
get it. But I was one of those
joking,
people.
Of course.
No,
I'm so
I
happy for
actually agree with you because everybody's doing a podcast. I don't disagree with you.
What's really great about it, Rach, is that when we first started, right, the ads that were coming to us were man ads. Because the only people really doing podcasts were men. There was sports and there was like Adam Carolla and Howard Stern technically like in his podcast, like
it was like sports radio.
We had like ZipRecruiter, who we love, great thing, but it was like a lot of men ads.
Yep.
And we could not get a female brand to sponsor the podcast. Wow. What's happened now with female. Everyone starting these podcasts during the pandemic and so many A-listers and recognizable names. Yeah, sure, it's a challenge to still like make room for us, but at the same time, it's like every major brand. I mean, our brand sponsors are Vogue, Chanel, like Disney, like crazy
aren't you
brands.
Dead? Like, I feel like you have fully made it, you guys.
When we got the Chanel ad, I was like, I'm sorry.
Dead.
I'm sorry. I was like,
yeah, babe, I don't think you're waiting for the invite. I don't think you're waiting for that invite. I think you guys are going to get front row seats everywhere.
The level was never there. That level of ad is only because the A-listers have come and recognizable people are now doing podcasts that they can go and be like, oh, we should be working in the podcast world, and that's an incredible gift.
Yeah. Well, because
I think podcasts are the jam.
Yeah. And I actually think, what I actually really love about podcasts is that you can't see anybody. You know what I mean? It's actually what made me love Clubhouse. I actually loved that there wasn't like a narcissistic element to it. It wasn't like you had to get hair and makeup. You had to like be judgy. It was just, you're actually just listening to voice, which actually makes you listen rather than get distracted. So I actually thought that was fantastic. But I think you guys have created a movement. I think you're so impressive. I really think all of you are amazing. And I think you've fully made it. I'm sure I'm sure the best is still yet to come, but I am super impressed with all of you. What's the biggest, if ever, have you ever gotten in like a fight and just like, did it last or was it dramatic you could say no, by the way.
It's usually when I melt down and do something stupid.
Keltie has what we like to call a Keltdown every couple months when things just get like very overwhelming. And then she might go into our Facebook group and start sharing personal details about her life that she shouldn't. Oh my
God, stop.
And then Becca and I need to have an intervention. And then we have like a group phone call to really, get Keltie out of that mind space. That's like our biggest conundrum that ever happens within the Lady Gang.
Yeah. I really think that like the 35,000 girls in our Facebook group are my best friends. So like when I happen to like be going through a hard time, I may like overshare. It's like who I am as a human. I think everyone's my friend. And then those people will like take that information and blackmail me with it, which is like not
Keltie, do you remember what I said as I was coming up in the industry? You have to have 10 eyes open all the time.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, being naive in this industry will just never help you. It will only hurt you. And I am the same. I am guilty of the same. And I have learned the hard way. So
Keltie's
thing to learn.
She's not even naive. She knows better, but she does it anyways.
We had to have a conversation during COVID where I almost drafted a contract to say I will not post in the Facebook group without checking with my business partners to approve the content going up. Like it was like 3 strikes and you're out. She had like 13 strikes. And finally we were like, we know that you love sharing. And we know that like Keltie was also, fun fact, one of the original bloggers. Like she was one of
I could see that.
And she made friends by sharing her life, and she really is somebody who she just genuinely wants to do that. Like it's her way, it's her therapy, if you will.
By the way, I think, listen, to go to that for a second, I think social media, look, if I was more that way, I'd probably have 10 million followers. You know what I mean? I have 3.5 million followers. The reality of it is, I think the people that share and expose and really feel, they really show the real vulnerable moments and things like that. You know, I try to share enough, but I really keep a lot in tight. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's any right or wrong to anything on social. I think your social is your, it's, you know, how you approach social is very interesting, because I think it's how much you choose to share. And I think everyone has a different level of comfort with that. The problem that I'm hearing here, not to play therapist.
Blame on Keltie, but it's okay,
I think you can share, but you can't share on others' behalf. That's the thing. Once you bring other people in, you get in trouble. If it's you sharing you got to do you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that's it. Like if you want to take them to the gynecologist, like cool. You know.
She will.
I will.
I know she will.
And
she just took her Instagram following to Dr. Diamonds, where she
did.
You saw
the diamond facial.
Got that chin back, baby. No, but I actually learned a really hard lesson. I've learned hard lessons over the last 6 years with this, because I love all these followers, and I do consider them like friendly. And recently I had a fan of ours who was a longtime fan and had been DMing me, but there's like all those sections of DMs now, like where you can't see who's DMing, and like, I can't look. And then like, I might see Jac's, but I don't see this other. He, I guess, this fan had been DMing me for like months, and I hadn't liked it or responded or whatever. And they took it very personally.
Oh yeah.
And like left the Lady Gang and stopped listening to Lady Gang because they didn't feel like we were friends anymore. And I was like,
she doesn't even respond to like our DMs either.
No. I haven't spoken to my mother in 2 weeks. Like that is who I am. And like when we were on our TV show, producers would be like, Keltie didn't respond to my text. And they were like, yeah. Welcome to Keltie.
That's how she is.
Yeah, I mean, so we lost fans because of it. So it's like maybe I've opened myself too much. And so anyway.
I think it's always cool to address it. Yeah. I just think address it and be like, guys, we have so much going on, and like I'm overwhelmed and I can't stay on top of everything. And if I don't respond to you, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's kind of just an overriding apology, and let them kind of sit with that, like you're talking to them.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's helpful, because it's true. How can you respond to everybody that texts you or DMs you? That's crazy. You know? Right. Well, you guys, I am endlessly fascinated with all of you. This has been so fun for me, because I always like marvel at girls that can work so closely together, maintain a respect for one another, not get in fights all the time. And I always say women are really hard sometimes. And at the same time, great women are the best, you know? And I think that there are secrets to the success of female relationships for sure. But I just love seeing you guys. I love hearing you guys. I love seeing your energy, you know, and I love the brand, and I think it's awesome. I love what you stand for. And I love that you were one of the first, you know? So, and I'm saying it here and now, I think you're fucking cool. Just
you know what?
All of you.
I'm literally about to go into the office and write on my whiteboard 10 eyes open, and it's going to live there forever.
You must have 10 eyes open. That should be on your manifest board. If I could leave you with anything, please have 10 eyes open. My kids actually say mommy has eyes behind her head.
I love that.
But you guys, now I have to ask you like just a few silly, fun questions that we always end with, just because it's silly. And it's a little bit like newlywed style. Like you kind of answer on each other's behalf. Okay. One of my favorites that I can't ever not ask, because it's always the funniest answer. What would each of you get arrested for? And you can't say yourself. It has to be, you have to answer for it. Like what would Keltie get arrested for?
Keltie
doesn't
go, Jac.
She's not a rule breaker. So this is hard. What were you going to say?
Oh, you're right. She's not a rule breaker. It's hard.
She loves to follow a rule.
She does. Although she would get arrested for some type of terrible driving, like reckless driving. She is the world's worst fucking driver.
There you go.
There you go.
You should be locked up already.
Becca, I already know what you would get arrested for. But okay, what would Becca get arrested for? I'm going to take a guess.
Wait, what do you think? You said
like
you go
stalking
first.
Ryan Murphy. Like finding his house or standing outside the school or something.
I think Becca would end up getting arrested for some sort of a vengeance.
Yes, I think she could be a secret murderer.
For somebody that wronged somebody that she cares about.
That's how I am, by the way.
She would push someone off a bridge.
Are you a Virgo, Becca? Are you a Virgo?
I'm not, but I have a lot of close Virgo girlfriends. I'm a Capricorn, but
it's the same though. My son's a Capricorn. We're the same. I actually held Caius in to make him a Capricorn.
You did? Oh my God.
Yeah. I did. I held him in.
Sag.
I did not want a Sag. And so I literally said to my OB, who's also a Virgo, she was like, you need to hold him until the 22nd. And lo and behold, 22nd, he came. Good. And Jac he's such a Capricorn.
Jac will get arrested for public intoxication, and I'm pretty sure she has before.
Yes.
No, I haven't. And you're right.
Like 10:30 a.m.
Yeah, it would be 10:30.
Yeah, like a midday, like
forgot to wear pants
on the road or something like that.
On 405.
Yeah. Listen, she's Penny Lane, you guys.
She is.
She's Penny Lane. This is what she should be arrested for. Mm-hmm. By the way, I think Roger would get arrested for that. He always says I would get arrested for like having a temper tantrum at the airport. For like someone yelling at me at security or something because they wanted to take my bag and like check it. And I'm like, I'm going with it under the plane if you check that. Literally.
You can't check whatever's in your suitcase.
Roger has held me back. I'm like, they're like, I'm sorry, ma'am, we have to take it. There's no like whatever on the like small planes to like an island or something. And I go, I will either sit on it. I will go under the plane, but it is not going under without me. And Roger's like, God. You're going to jail. And I don't know you. For real.
That's good.
Okay. Last one. I'm just trying to make it a good one. Hold on. Okay. What would be your last meal? Not that you're dying, God forbid.
Well, Jac's would be a sandwich
with chips in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a chocolate chip cookie.
Yes. You know, Jac, I'm feeling like you'd be best friends with Roger.
Him and I like are kindred spirits.
You really are. Like he just wants to live like a male Penny Lane, and like you mean while he was like an investment banker. But trust me when I tell you, like he's living a double life.
I know. I feel like we need to be besties.
I promise you would be.
That's amazing. So Keltie doesn't really eat real food. So
no, it's the veggie burger. No, it's the veggie
Fat Burger.
From Fat Burger.
But which one? Yeah. Oh, from Fat Burger.
They have an Impossible Burger with a skinny fry and a Diet Coke, but I've recently given up Diet Coke again for the 100th time in my life.
Oh my goodness. I pull it from Roger. It's really, he only is down to like half of one a day, but like it used to be really intense. Ooh. No aspartame, guys. Anything no aspartame. No, none. Drink alcohol, just don't have aspartame.
Yes. Becca's like a fancy bitch. So for me, it's like she wants to go out somewhere where the seating is leather and she's getting she would go where Salt Bay is feeding.
Oh, okay.
Salt Bay, like she's having a Salt Bay meal, I think. Like it's like the chicken and the
rice.
Mean? Like the tomahawk steak with like expensive wine and like.
Well, now she's living in Austin where there's delicious food.
Hi, Layla.
The food here is insane.
Hi, Layla.
Paella? What is it called?
Paella.
Do you know what Salt Bay is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like Salt Bay seasoning?
No, like the
You know the Salt Bay guy that does the little.
What is Salt Bay?
Salt Bay is like a hot chef and he feeds you. He comes out to the table. He's like so sexy. He's like in a white tank top and a little like Olsen glasses. And he comes out and he serves you the food. And at the last thing, he like takes the salt and he goes.
He became like a meme, like a social media meme.
You go look up Salt Bay. Anyway, she would have a Salt Bay meme.
Oh my God. Stop it. He looks like he should be in like a Levi's ad in the 80s.
Yes. He's very sexual. And if you want to get if you want to get Salt Bayed in LA, he opened a restaurant. It's $330 just for the steak.
Wow. Dear God.
A guaranteed Salt Bay sighting. Anyway, live your life.
Would that be your last meal, Becca? Truth?
I mean, it would be something like in Sardinia, like
right
by the water with like seafood and wine. Like it would be something like that.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm there with you, by Rachel? The way. I'm there with you. I'm thinking like Portofino Positano, something like that. Some amazing, like something like just really heavenly. Yeah. I'm also picturing just where I'm sitting right now. So I got lost in that.
Yeah.
And then whatever you feed me, I'll eat.
Totally. What your hair product smells like, what perfume you're wearing.
I'm definitely in a caftan, no matter what it is. Eating my last meal in a caftan for sure in diamonds.
Wait, Rachel, let's just end with this story.
Tell me.
I had a caftan disaster that I can't wait to share with you. So I was judging Miss Universe and the dress I wanted was not available from like the rental house that you wear, like or you rent a fancy dress if you're a regular bitch like me.
Yeah.
And so I had to go in the morning before the flight and I was like, I need something. And then I sent this picture to Marcella and I was like, I just held it up. I didn't even try it on. I was like, what if I just do rich lady caftan? She's like chic. And so then I didn't realize it was a 14, which is not my size. And then I got to Miss Universe in Miami and I put the caftan on. It was fucking explosive. And then on top of that, I got this idea throughout Miss Universe. It's so glamorous. There's so much makeup. There's so much hair. I got the idea.
There's so much sequins everywhere.
Everything. I was so much. I got lost and I put in a clip-in bang as well. And so I just
Are you okay?
She wasn't.
It's like
I need you how to count down.
I need you to see the photo too. Like I love Keltie and normally I tell her she looks beautiful always, but I'm telling you this was like the most missed fashion moment that has ever existed.
Oh my
God. Look like she was like 75 years old.
Oh shit. Do you know what? It's not even the caftan that's killing me. It's the hair situation.
I know. If I had done
what
like
happened?
a low, like bun, it was the hair and makeup team. I got really, I was like big hair.
That doesn't even look like you.
I know. I used Zendaya as a hair inspiration.
Got
and
it.
That was a mistake. Like it was
She's
was
the prettiest.
I know. It's
human.
like she can wear anything. So it's
literally
like,
a washcloth with like a rubber band. Who is that?
I'm 66-year-old.
Babe, that should be your profile pic.
And so here's the story is I texted my mom because like it's worldwide. There's like 500 million people watching. I text my mom who's like a real stage mom. And I was like, did you see me? And she just replied, yep. That's how bad it was. My mom couldn't even love me.
Babe, you look unrecognizable.
I know.
Unrecognizable.
That's why I'm so freaked about
like if you actually showed that to me, I actually in no life would have been like, oh, you look interesting there. Like I wouldn't have even thought that was actually you.
I know. So anyway, not everyone
but it's okay.
can wear
Listen,
a caftan
you live and you learn.
Last meal. I won't be wearing a caftan ever again. I'll tell you that
That's
much.
not true. You just chose the wrong one.
You have to get a hair.
I think it was the glam. It wasn't even the caftan. Don't blame the caftan. It was the hair.
But these are how things go wrong. That's why you are who you are, because there are so many of us insecure, fashion-loving people who can't make right choices in Hollywood. And that's why stylists and having experts is so important, because if we are left to our own devices, honey, we've all seen them before they got a stylist pictures on the red carpet. We're Ashley Tisdale, 2000 with a jean and a skirt and a belt,
Oh, dear God. Listen. You do you, and don't run from the caftan. It's just the hair and makeup. I say this till I'm blue in the face. Hair and makeup is equally as important as what you wear, sometimes even more so. I hate to say that as a stylist, but true. And I
Rachel,
will leave you on these parting words. Okay, I love you guys.
You're the one that won't stop talking.
Stop
talking. I'm sorry. I love you so much. I feel cool. Okay. Thank you for having us.
This is our first fight because Keltie won't shut the fuck up on your podcast.
She won't. I love you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
I didn't run out of time. Bye, Dad.
Okay, so that was pretty incredible. I have to say, I'd heard about the Lady Gang girls and, have a mutual friend with Keltie, but I kind of didn't know how awesome they would be. And I kind of just felt like I was talking to girlfriends in a room that I had known for so long. And I think the most impressive thing beyond the fact that they are such like women for women, that they are all so different, which is why I think Lady Gang as a brand really resonates with people, because I think every girl or woman can relate to one of the three girls, and they're so incredibly different, which is so great. I also love how honest their stories are and how they came from, not very much and just wanted to make it and got creative on how to do that. And we're early into the podcast world, which is so big. And I was incredibly impressed. And I love their mission. I love how they speak to women. And I love how many doors they opened for female podcasts, for advertisers and everything else. So that was so much fun. Okay, so I have the highest high of this week. My kids started day camp. And, every day a camper can get an award, and they've both come home with like different things that they got awards for, like integrity, honesty, empathy, all those things. So already a proud mom. Caius walks through the door and tells me he got the biggest award, but then he didn't really tell me anything after that. He just handed me the thing that circled all the amazing things: honesty, empathy, integrity, kindness, sharing, all the things. And then his counselor sent me this huge video of a ceremony where all the boys groups 8 through 12, out of all the campers, he got the biggest award, where everybody was cheering for him and everybody like stood up, and he got this huge thing, and it was like the most prestigious award, the most amazing camper award. And I literally cried. Roger and I are such dorks. We literally watched the video. I mean, that might be like the biggest thing that's ever happened in his life. He was recognized. He was so excited. So that was a big high for me. I think a low for me is that I've been in my favorite place for now almost 2 weeks, working from the Hamptons, which I'm very grateful and blessed for. So not to sound like I'm complaining, but I will say I haven't stopped working since I've been here, which is a good thing because we're incredibly busy. And again, I'm very grateful. But I think going to the beach like more than once would be cool. But again, not a real life problem. Just sort of throwing that out there. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. Don't forget to listen to Works for Us. Go to our Instagram, follow us at works.for.us. And download us wherever you get your podcasts. And hope you love this episode as much as I do. Bye.